This is the brief agenda that we'll go through in this 1 hour call. We'll talk about what is Sandbox analysis skill, getting to know about what Sandbox analysis and the skill itself, and we'll see a few demos that we have put together for you, a roadmap, next steps, and any Q&A that we can take on the call as well. With that, so Microsoft Sandbox Analysis, it's a high-scale sandbox analysis service performing static and dynamic analysis on URLs and files. So we started with detecting this for many years ago. We have been serving this service as a backend analysis tool for many Microsoft internal security services. We started with malware and moved on to detect phish as the threat landscape changed, and we also detect spam today. Today, it is currently available for all Microsoft internal partners who utilize this to enhance their customers' experience, right? Well, one of the biggest ones are Microsoft Defender for Office, and there are over 40 plus partners that with a combined user base of 450 million protected users. And because we do, as you see, 4 billion plus submissions weekly, we also have that exhaust that comes back with a lot of high confidence TI. And this TI is available for our first party and selected third party partners, such as MDTI users and other third party partners that are available through our XDR Defender portal and directly through an extraction service backend. So that's where we are currently. Who will benefit from this sandbox analysis service? So we are looking at various security operations role here, SOC analysts, incident response, threat hunting, research analysts. We even, with this introduction of the skill and in future, you will see an API service that we want to launch. Developers, ISVs would also benefit from it. With that, Josine, can you share a poll here to read the room and kind of understand who is on the call that are currently in one of those roles that are presented in the poll? So if you guys can take a few seconds to just select the role you are in. Okay, instant responder, SOC analysts. Nice. All right, you are in the right room then. We'll move on. We'll talk a little bit about what is the sandbox analysis skill in Copilot for security. Today, we'll talk about the immersive experience. Immersive experience is the standalone experience where you go into Copilot for Security portal, enter things in the prompt to get the results. The skill itself, in general, it's a chat-based AI and it summarizes everything. So you submitted, input a URL or a linked file. Copilot will call the relevant skill to pick up the sandbox analysis, and it brings back summarizing the results based on the artifacts, indicators of compromises, and the analysis data that's generated backend. So there's a lot of information that gets pulled out. The goal here is for you to be able to read what's important and what brings value so that you can go back and take actions. So basically, we upskill the analyst's threat analysis capability, and this will help you to close any gaps that you see in your investigations as part of SOC alerts. Anything that you find on the internet or in a peer organization that you want to come back and check what's going on with it in your organization, you would send and see if this is impacting and how you can take action on that. All right. With that, a little bit deeper into just the sandbox analysis skill. This skill is enabled through MTI, Microsoft Threat Intelligence plugin. Okay, you have to be part of Copilot for security production license. And then as you see in the screenshot, you should enable the MTI plugin here. And once you get there, you get to the portal and you type in a URL, right? You enter the prompt. I'm sorry, somebody, can you mute your... Thank you. Once the skill picks up, the skill automatically gets picked up based on the prompt that is entered. The relevant skill gets picked up. And then once the results are categorized and are ready to be showcased to the user, you get this full display of the results, which we'll go see in the demo. It's in the screenshot here with small font, but you basically have the summary, artifacts, metadata, and you also have screenshots that are associated to take a determination why something is bad and go into the behavior a little bit more. And now, are there any questions before I move on to the demo? We have picked up 3 scenarios for you guys. The first one is you are a SOC analyst, you got an alert as part of, say, an email, or you're tracking a URL connector, say, in Sentinel, and you got a URL to investigate, right? Now what you do, I will pull up the demo here. Let me know if you're able to see that. Just give me a thumbs up if you're able to see the demo screen. Okay, thank you. All right, I'll begin this. I'll walk you through this as the demo goes through. So as a user in one of those security operations role, you found a URL, you entered the URL, and Copilot is going through its usual checks to first get the right skill to get picked up. The URL prompt went by really quickly. As this is processing, I want to let you know, I'll also share this separately. We have several prompts associated to be able to get to this appropriate skill. So you can say analyze certain URL, you can say perform sandbox analysis, and then put that URL. There are other 4 or 5 prompts that I can share, but all of them will be included in the user manual when you get to the private preview and be able to pick up the sandbox analysis skill from there. All right. You see that the skill has got picked up, results are being summarized and displayed. So you see in the summary, on the top, the verdict is fish, and summary says that, why the URL is bad. In the metadata, you have host name and public suffix included. And in the analysis section, there is information about HTTP request headers, web information, and this is the screenshot. So if you looked at the original URL, it has nothing to do with DHL, but you see that this has billing information page for DHL. That will indicate the screenshot, response code, and the verdict will clearly indicate that this URL is fish. and you'd be able to take any action that's associated with this later on. So that's the end of the first demo. We don't have any questions. We'll move on to the second one. This is a URL redirection chain example. In this scenario, say you have a short URL like a bit.ly and it gets expanded to a original URL, the full URL, and then say that URL got redirected to 2-3 other URLs and you end up with the landing page on the final URL. Now, we will see how that result gets processed in this example. So in the first, so I'll pause here. So you see, analyze the URL and you have a Blogspot URL that is typed in here. Then we'll move on. You enter the URL, the usual checks. See if I can progress this a little faster. All right, let me pause here. So again, you got back with the analyzed URL there. You have the verdict fish. Same thing, summary calls out why the URL is bad. And you're going through the metadata. So one thing we are changing here once you come to the analysis part, so when you see the redirection chain here, you have, you started with this and ending with this, and it has multiple intermediate URLs associated with this. The change that you see in the next version of this, the new version still not in production, in development, is we are upfront bringing all the redirection chain URLs on the screen in a tabular format for you to see what is the original URL, what's the redirected URL, what's the verdict of the redirected URL, and the response code. That way, upfront, you have this information. However, if you need to get to more information, you can actually go and do a follow-up question in the same session, asking if you want to say, get more information on a particular domain, you can either get a response from the same skill, or you can also do initiate a different skill in the same session. Hope that makes sense. Let's continue this. There is a question in, is a sandbox only usable through security Copilot? Great question. We'll come to that in the next steps, but short answer is no, you have other options. But right now in private preview, this is the one that is being private previewed. And this is the screenshot for what we have seen on the final URL for this. So I'll pause here. I'll take the next question as well. And same thing here. Yossi just replied. There are plans to do embedded experience, which makes it brings more value when you contextualize your prompts with the data that you are investigating already on XDR. So that's going to come up soon. We don't have dates yet, but they are in the plans. So let's continue with this demo. So basically, this is the redirection chain URL example. Adashri, if you have the tabular format thing, if you can put the screenshot there, they'll get an idea. So the third demo and the final one for today is a file example. Okay, so for files today, you will have to upload the file to a SharePoint where we can actually access to perform the sandbox analysis as a workaround, because today Copilot in its standalone experience do not have file upload feature. So for that, we are allowing right now to take a file from a linked content. If you're able to submit that, we will pick up that file and do the sandbox analysis based on the file that has been sent to us. So let's look at the file example here.
I mean, like,
so here, let's look at this URL. It is pointing to a PDF file here. When you go and submit the prompt, do the checks. There it comes back with the, hang on, this is a Dropbox example. Yeah, here you go. So this file is uploaded to Dropbox SharePoint, and this is being analyzed. This is a PDF file. Yeah, the previous one is the brand impersonation one, Ellie. Going through the checks, going to fast forward this a bit. Okay, there you have the result. Okay, so here is the analyzed URL. This also came back with fish, and it indicated that there is a PDF that showed the behavior of a credential phishing campaign. And then the host name shows Dropbox, public suffix. And you have the HTTP information response headers, and then you have the screenshot. So there you have the link to the PDF. And there is a second screenshot as well for this one. It's a blank screen. So yeah, so that's briefly what we want to show today as part of the 3 scenarios that we looked at: brand impersonation, redirection chain, and the linked file with the PDF. I'll pause here. Let's see if there are further questions here. Anything that is not answered. You guys want to come out of mute?
Yeah, so there was a question about the as it's going through the analysis, especially with like Dropbox and things like that, specifically around like bot check captchas, or like if a particular link is it's supposed to be sent to a specific individual. Does is this have anything to avoid those or know how to handle those?
That's a great question. Anybody wants to take that on the call?
Yeah, I was just typing a response. This is a challenge for the entire industry. It's really interesting that you're asking about it. We are just about to post a blog post about how big the challenge is for good bots and how malicious actors are using CAPTCHAs to hide behind them and avoid detection. Of course, we have some ways to detect something as malicious, even if we don't bypass the CAPTCHA. There are ways, there are indicators that we can use to determine that something is malicious. But then you won't get, for example, the screenshots behind the CAPTCHA. And the entire industry is working on ways to enable good bots to see behind the CAPTCHA while still maintaining the usefulness of this tool to protect good websites from robots, from malicious robots. So the answer is, this is a challenge that we are already facing. We can address it to a certain degree, and we're working to improve on this. Does this answer the question?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Yossi. All right. If there are no other questions, just to summarize what we have looked at here and bring you guys up to speed on what's coming up next.
So Rupa, sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, sorry.
We do have some questions in the chat, and I'm not sure if all of them have been answered. So I'm just gonna go through them and let me know if it's been covered. So one is from Neil Mehta. Our auto screenshot has encountered numerous bot check captchas, especially Cloudflare's.
That's the one we just discussed.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah. And then there's another one here. Will the Sandbox analysis skill become available on a specific date, or is this something that needs to be added to our current security Copilot deployment?
Yeah, so this skill is going private preview in November. That's what I'm getting to go to the roadmap, but this is not available to use today, but you will get instructions for that. As I said, you have to have the MTI plugin to be able to access this in your private previews.
And then last is there a plan to make MDE malware detection available to be analyzed?
I'm not sure I understand the question. So Simrad, if you can unmute or add more details, this would be helpful.
Maxime, do you mind coming off mute, please?
Yes, you hearing me? Yep. So my question is basically, in the security console of Microsoft, you have like all those products that are actually, and MDEs in there, right? Sometimes you have like malware detection on files and stuff like that. So would it be available sometimes to actually be in the investigation of those malware and get the analysis from this Copilot, probably in the embedded experience, I suppose, and have the result of the Sandbox analysis included in the alert? So we could actually see, that kind of workflow I'm thinking about.
Okay, so Rupa, do you want to take it? I'm happy to answer.
Go ahead and answer.
Okay, so one of the advantages that we see in interacting with an analysis result in Copilot for security is the integration between different skills. So first of all, reputation from MDE as well as from our analysis service is all integrated into the analysis that you see in the analysis report that Swarupa just showed. And second, you can ask questions just like you can already in Copilot for security, and use the Microsoft Threat Intelligence skill in order to dig deeper about, for example, what else do you know about this file hash? And this insight is coming from MDE as well as from other TI sources. And you get the best answer that Microsoft currently has about this item that you're asking about. So the answer is yes, and even more than what you were proposing.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and also today we got a chance to only show fish examples, but as part of this skill, if your file has it is infected with malware, then we certainly do analysis on that as well. As I showed in the beginning of this slide, we have malware, fish, and spam as the verdict categories here.
All right, one more question from Neil. I'm going to read it out because, people in the recording will benefit from it. What is the long-term vision for Microsoft Sandbox? Is it going to remain Sandbox Lite, or will it ever evolve to full-featured customizable Sandbox like hybrid analysis, Joe, Google, etc.?
All right, why don't we cover that in this slide as we walk through all of these. So as I was mentioning, the first capability that you guys have looked at today is the skill itself in immersive experience. It's going to get private previewed in November. If you are interested and want to participate, there will be a sign-up form that will be sent at the end of this session. You can sign up. However, we are keeping this to a limited group of customers. So we really want to check what role you are in and how this will add value to you and make it worthwhile for both of us. Okay, coming to the second and third bullets. During private preview, we'll be able to dig deeper into it. We have follow-up skills. As I said in one of the redirection chain example, we allow users to ask follow-up questions based on the current skill when you are in the same session, or you can invoke other skills. For example, say you are, someone just asked, right? And Henry, I believe, can we go and do an MDE check, right? So if there is a skill associated, if there is a reputation skill that you want to get, another type of analysis on what reputation says about this from a file perspective, you can go invoke those skills. And if you are suspicious about a domain in the URLs that you have seen in this particular session, you can go do a domain check and get more information. So those follow-up skills are valuable to kind of get to the bottom of an investigation. So in coming up soon, obviously, we are thinking of better together stories, collaborating with other Microsoft partners, especially M365 XDR portal. Recently came across a Logic Apps use case, and we also have plans to launch this as an API for you guys to do automated workflows besides the skill experience that we are launching soon. Does that answer the questions on the APIs, embedded experiences? Okay, I will move on if there are no questions. Yeah, as we move on to the roadmap here, I'm going to reiterate the private preview goals here. So we are, during Ignite timeframe, we want to begin the private preview, starts on November 19th. And you have a good amount of time. We considered the holiday period, and we are thinking to end on February 28th. So you will have about 14 weeks in total to go through this. And then in H1 calendar year 25, public preview and followed by GA is our plan for this particular immersive experience. As things develop and stabilize on the other areas, you will get updated on the plans for embedded experience, APIs, etc. All right. On next steps, here's the QR code to sign up for private preview, and also the link is pasted. Josine can share those links again in the chat. But basically, as I mentioned, we want the actual, for the benefit of both the product team and the customers, we want the actual SOC analysts and people in the roles that will actually use the skill to be able to participate in the private preview, so that we get the full benefit of utilizing and testing these scenarios end to end, right? And we will have an initial debrief call. In terms of commitment from you, we will have initial debrief calls. It is all put up in the sign up form, but I just want to reiterate in the call as well. The calls will help you to enable, in certain cases, you bring up a scenario, we'll test it end to end with you. We will spend time and go through it. And you will have the ability, because it's a 14-week period, you will have the ability to go back and test this with your scenarios. And at the end, you will have a survey to fill out the private preview feedback, and that will end the private preview there. Any questions?
I just want to answer the question that was asked earlier about the long-term vision for the service and whether we're planning to expand what we just showed to provide customization and hybrid analysis. And the answer is, at this point, this is what we're offering, and we don't have anything to share about future plans like the ones that were suggested there. I'm not saying we're not going to do it. I'm also not saying we are. Our focus right now is to make the ability to trigger a sandbox analysis from Copilot for Security to start with, and get the results of this analysis instantaneously. This is what we're targeting right now, and the roadmap that we presented is just specific to this capability, which is our own analysis and not customizable. Whether or not we're going to offer more options in the future is yet to be determined and announced. This is not the focus right now. I know it's not an answer, but this is the answer.
Thank you. Aside from the QR code, I have dropped the link in the chat. And again, to reiterate what Swarupa had said, we are really targeting SOC analysts for this private preview. And we do hope you participate. There's going to be a lot of value in this exchange, and we are going to make sure that, we give you time. We will listen to your feedback. Your feedback is always valuable to Microsoft. With that, if there are no other questions, I would like to thank both Swarupa and Yossi for hosting this call today. As I mentioned, those who missed the call, I know a lot of you called in halfway through. You will be able to access a copy of the recording from the CCP team site. I do ask also if you could fill out the survey form for the call itself. It helps us improve these weekly skilling calls, and let us know what other topics you'd like to hear about. So with that, thank you so much, Swarupa and Yossi. Appreciate your time. And everybody, thank you. I apologize for the slight mix-up earlier on the start time, but I appreciate that you're here every week, no matter what. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you, Josine. Thank you, everyone who joined.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.